everybody, Jo here again. I hope you're keeping well. Thanks for popping in. It's always lovely to have your company. Now today we're going to do a little project. So we're not actually going to be doing our journaling today. So pop back next week and we'll be doing another page. And today what I wanted to do is recently I was lucky to be invited to do a Lavinia make and take for a local Lavinia event, and I have to say the project I did the ladies and gentlemen really loved, and a few people asked if I could adapt it and make a YouTube on it. So for those ladies and gents, here we are. And what it is it's a sort of a gatefold card, and I just think it's lovely. We've got some stenciling, some stamping, we've got the front, and then at the back we've just got some gentle stenciling and a place for you to put either a sentiment or write your message. Now this, I've made the card blank out of a piece of A4 stamping card, and just to show you, it actually will fit inside. This is a 6x6 envelope and it will actually fit in there. Now these measurements I've totally just made up out of my head. So I'll explain how I did it. I just took a piece of my card, and the A4 isn't a direct measurement this way for me because I wanted to be able to half it, because it measures something ridiculous like 29.5 or 3/4 centimetres. Now do bear with me. I know our lovely friends in America, you like this in inches, but it's not easy to actually do this in inches. So you may have to almost jig it yourselves. All I've done is I looked for a size that I liked the look of for my height here. And I literally cut my piece of card there. And in the end, I actually decided that for me, 11.5 was a nice size. Now that, if we look, is 4.5 inches. Now, when it comes to the measurement this way, I've actually gone just slightly, cut the card down to 29, because that was easier in my head for my sums. So that's 29 centimetres, which I know you're going to ask me in inches, and I'll do my best. It's sort of look 11 3/4. As I say, it doesn't translate well. Now, once you've cut your piece like that, and as I say, this was just totally out of my head what I thought would look good. It's totally up to you how you score your card then. But the main thing you need to know, well, the way I do it in my head, and I've told you before, my head is not the best place to be. So for me, this is 29 centimetres. So I know I want my middle panel, because I want a middle panel, and I know that's going to be 14.5, because obviously that's half of 29. So for me, I wanted an uneven side. So I know this is going to be 14.5. So I decided that for me to score this at 10 and this at 4.5, because then that's 14.5, and that worked in my head. You could obviously do it in the middle and make a total gatefold so they're equal. I like it uneven. So to recap, I just went for half my distance, which my total length is 29 centimetres. So I know my middle bit is going to be 14.5. So I could do these at any of that dimension, but for me 10 and 4.5 made sense. And then that's the way my head works. And I literally scored one side at 10, turned it round the other side at 4.5. And then all you do is fold it in. And again, remember, when you've scored, the debossed is the bit that you're folding in. And hopefully, if you've done it right, they will meet. Now, it's up to you. You can have it this way, but for some reason, I like it this way. Don't know why, but that's totally up to you. And as I say, those measurements are just done from my head. And then all I did was cut some pieces of card to mat and layer. And again, it depends on how much of a border you wish to have. And I've just gone for these. So again, for those of you that are going to need the measurements, and these will just be in centimetres, so they're all 10 centimetres this way, and again I cut a strip, and that's 13, and then we've got 9 and 3.5. But as I say, you can decide on the dimensions you want. One thing to bear in mind, when you're stamping these up, we need to have them this way. It's easy to turn it round and find you've done it the wrong way. And believe you me, this is one of those things. If you do that, if that doesn't make sense, what I've just said, and you do it wrong, you'll totally understand. So the way I approach this, I'm going to do my 2 exterior front card pieces first. And that's just the way my head works. But again, totally up to you. As I keep saying, my head is not the best place to be. And I decided I wanted a feature on the front. So I've gone for the small fairy fir tree. And I'm going to use the black ink, the Versafine Clair. So all my stamping is going to be in Versafine Clair. So on this side, because it's so narrow, I just thought one of these would look nice. And I'm just going to offset it slightly. And then I'm going to do a couple more over this side. And the idea behind this is I wanted sort of, I just feel like we need a bit of spring meadows. Just going to do a little bit of 2nd and 3rd generation there, just altering. I just think that looks nice. It's all about a nice balance. And again, just give my stamp a bit of a wipe when I put it away. If I bring in the finished design, what I wanted was some continuity, but also something different. So I've got the fairy fir tree on the front, look, but it's not inside. But my floral stamping in the meadow, I have got the same stamps. And also my moon and the stamping at the top is the same. Now it's up to you. You could do completely the same design, or you could do completely different. I sort of couldn't decide, so hence I've gone for the same but different. And you know what? That makes about as much sense as I do these days. So that was what was in my head. So when it comes to my floral meadow, and again, with a meadow, you have to be careful. You want to have enough stamping that it looks like a lovely meadow, but you don't want a pizza. So the first stamp I'm going to use is one off the leaf spray. And I love this, it's great for a bit of sort of something in the distance. And I'm going to come in with Golden Meadow. And this will push it back. You won't see a lot of this in the finished one, but sometimes you need these things. You know they're there. Without it, it would look like there was something missing. Got something on my, I don't know what that is, but there we go. We'll get rid of it. And again, doing a combination of 2nd and 3rd. Just to get that idea. And I'm actually going to pop these 2 together. Now I know some of you will ask, why didn't I just stamp this as one complete piece? Well, again, you could if you wanted. I just felt better actually having mine cut to size to start off with. But there's no reason why you couldn't actually cut this after you've stamped it up. Now my next stamp is the lavender, and I love this stamp. And again, I know normally you would stamp it in blue, but just for me, for this design, I wanted to keep greens. So I'm coming in with Shady Lane, or as we like to call her, Shady Lady. And I'm almost going to clump this in an area, look. So I'm not putting it right across. I'm going to put it here, go in between the 2. So I'm not going to put it over there where the trees are, because I don't want it to look too uniform all the way, but I want to look like there's a bit of continuity there, even though they'll be like that. I'm hoping that makes sense. And again, this is just the way I approach it. You know, we're all different. So the last stamp I'm going to use on the bottom, on here at the base, is this beautiful orchard grass. And to give some extra dimension, I'm going to come in with this Verdant. So this is a light green, and it's a very delicate stamp, this. And it will almost push it to the distance. So again, we've got more depth. We've got distance stamping, look. I'm not going to overcook it with this. Another one there, that's enough. And then just to bring the whole thing together on the front, just going to wipe my stamp with my Inky Binky. I'm going to add a little bit of stamping in black, again with the orchard grass. And I'm not going to overdo it, just a little bit here. And it'll just make the whole thing look more like a total piece, like a whole design. And then I just want to add a little bit in the distance, look. And so hopefully, and that's enough, we've got some nice perspective going on there. And I'm just going to turn it round, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping at the top now. And for that, I want the cedar to start off with. And again, we'll come in with the Verdant. And I just want a little bit of this stamp. And we just sort of want it over this area. Just going over the two. Have a little bit more there. And again, I'm just wiping each stamp as I take it off my block, just because if I don't, I'll get ink on my fingers. You know what will happen then? It'll be all over the card design. Now, just at the top to finish off, I want the lovely little stamp, which just seems to have disappeared. Do you know what? How often does that happen? Right, come on. There you go. Come to mummy. And this is the oak leaf flourish. And I love this. And it's a silhouette of the oak leaf. And it's very, very useful, this. And I just think it looks lovely at the top. Just peeping between the two. And I think because we're using black, we'll do a little bit of second generation there. It's very strong. A little bit there. And it just balances the whole design to have that black stamping there. So when I bring this round, look, and I just, for me, I love that whole design. So we'll leave that, put that to one side, and we'll come in and do our middle one. Now, I know there's some of you saying, why didn't I stamp them at the same time? For me, that just messes with my head too much. You could do, and again, you know what I always say, you stamp up how you want to. If you want to do them all at the same time, you go for it. Now, in the middle, to add, as I say, my main ones, I'm going to have the continuity, but instead of stamping the trees for this one, I'm going to use this beautiful seed heads, and this has an outline stamp and a solid stamp. And again, because I wanted almost some silhouette stamping, just for that balance. So I'm going to pop this at either side almost to frame the design. I love this stamp. I always say it's one of those sort of unsexy stamps. You know, I don't think you'd look at it and go, oh, that's the stamp I've always wanted. But I use it so much. I'm just going to have a little clump there and there, look. So again, give that a wipe. And then back in with our, and I'm just going to do a repeat of what I've done. She says, this is good. It's a good memory. It's good for your memory, this. Check we're using the right colours for the right stamp. So we want a couple of this one, don't we? I'm just going to put a little bit over there, a little bit over there. We do say it's good to use your memory a lot, don't they? So we're using ours today. So back with the lavender. And this was the Shady Lady, wasn't it? And again, I almost want to mirror what I did on the front. So we had a clump about there, didn't we? So we'll do that. we'll have a nice little, and we can just have one more there. And again, give that a wipe. And then the orchard grass. And for that we used our two colours, didn't we? So first of all our verdant, this lovely light green. We'll just do a few. We don't want to overcook it. Possibly a few over this side. Little bit there and there. Again, just to give that depth. In fact, I'm just going to do one more. I think just coming through there. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah. Right. And then the black. So I'll give it a quick wipe. And then into the black. And again, we don't want to overdo it with the black, but just a little bit. And it will just, as I say, add to the balance. And also it makes it look, I love that word, a cohesive design. And you've got that nice, lovely meadow. You've got the feel that there's plenty growing, but you can see through, you can see the layers. If I lift it up, look, you can see the different ones through. We're going to add some ink down here so it won't look as transparent. But I like that. I like that shape. Again, it looks like a meadow. It's not all the same height, which is important. So we'll add some stamping at the top. And that was the verdant first, wasn't it, with the cedar? You see, I'm going to be asking you questions. You're going to be helping me. I'm going to be saying, what did I do where? And that sort of came... I'm not doing it exactly as my two cards that I'm putting on the front. I just want to have it similar, so the same sort of vibe. And then last of all, this lovely little oak leaf. And we'll have some, again, follow this nice shape here, look, with some first and then a little bit of second generation. Lovely. Right, so that's all our stamping done. And as always, we'll just give that a blot. Remember, it's your Versafine Clair ink, so it's a slower drying ink. And you know me, I'm a belt and braces girl. So we'll quickly just pop the heat tool over it, just to make sure they're nice and dry. I don't want to smudge it. And then what we're going to do, we just want to add a little bit of colour on here. So first of all, I'm going to come in with olive. And I'm just going to add some at the base. So again, in your ink pad, and then just on the lid, get my kitchen towel, just because I don't want to smudge this. I'm so pleased with it. Start at the corners because I want them deeper, and then just a little bit of, and these brushes are perfect for this. Look at that. Beautiful. Same here. Into the lid. Start on the corners and then bring that colour in. And it's just giving us that lovely green haze. Last one. Little bit of haze there. And it just adds depth. And then we're just going to give this a wipe. When we go on to we're going to add some blue ink now. And the most important thing is we need to put this ready for our design. And then somewhere over here, I've got my acetate circle masks. And I'm going to use this one. And I want it over the two at the front, look. I don't want it over the tree. So I'm going to come in there. And I'm going to come with Della Blue. Now, the little tip for you here, my lovely friends. My original Della Blue, as you know, I use it so much. It's very dry now. It's lasted so long, but I do use it a lot. But I want to keep it because it's lovely for when I first use my moon mask. And then I've got a new one, so I've treated myself to a new one, which is much richer, and obviously it's much more juicy because it's new. But what I've done is on my original, I've put a number 1 on the lid, but then it dawned on me the lid could get mixed up, so I've actually put it on the base as well. because obviously if I took the lids off both, I wouldn't know which was number one. So it's on my base. So this is the one I'm going to start off with. And I know I won't get much colour, but I don't want to add too much, do I? Because I could spoil it. So what we'll do is we'll take the lid off that one as well. And I'm going to start. Let's put that over the two. Right, perfect. Start at the base, look. And as I say, it looks like there's hardly any colour coming off because this is my older ink pad. But it's enough for me just to get that start, and then I'm going to come in with my new one and build up some more colour. Now, I must admit, there'll probably be a bit of shadow on this. Sorry about that. It's very dark in Holmes Chapel today. We had lots of snow this morning. So do excuse me, I'm sorry. I've tried to do the best I can with the lights, but it's not easy. So what I'll do, I'll take that off and turn it round so you can see a bit better. And as you can see, that's the design we've got so far. So what I'm going to do with my blue is just add a little bit more in that corner, always into the lid, look, and a little bit more in that corner. And I like that. Now, what I want to do, just move those out a little bit. I want to get the moon in a similar sort of place on my middle piece. Not identical, but similar. So if I put that there, look, I'm just roughly want it about there. So the same thing, going to come in. Did you spot that? I nearly used my green brush then. Shh, don't tell anyone. So into the blue. And this is my original one. So it'll be nice and pale. And then I'm going to come in with my new one. Once I've got that lovely pale hue, I can come in and add a little bit more. Take that off, turn it round and just add a little bit more on the side and a little. These brushes are just perfect, look, for adding that. Now, before I finish this design, what I do want to do is add a little bit of depth around the edge, and I'm going to come in with this beautiful midnight blue. Now, I'm going to use a blending sponge for this, just because I find this easier. And I'm going to start at the bottom in the corner. And I just want to frame the whole thing. I'm not coming in too far, but when you see what this does, it's well worth doing. I always ink up on the corner. So here, look, I'll ink up on the corner and then move my way down there. And then just across the top. You could use a brush, but I just find for me it's just a little bit quicker using a blending tool, but you use whatever's best for you. I don't want to come in too far, look. And can you see, I just need a tad more at the bottom, there we go. Can you see the difference? For me, that really just frames the design. So we'll do the same on these. Again, start on the corner. And again, I want to be mindful not to come in. These are smaller pieces of artwork, so I want to make sure I don't come in too far. Last one on the corner. Over the top. And this one, now this I do need to be mindful not to just catch that corner down that side. As I say, you could do both these pieces the same size if you want. I just think there's something nice about having it uneven and not symmetrical. And just across the top there. There we go. And as always, just need to clean up my area. Otherwise, I need a nice clean space. And then a couple of finishing tricks. So we'll pop our two designs next to each other. And we'll come in with our pastel pencils first. And we'll get the white one. And we'll just add some highlight, look, on these lovely seed heads. And these are perfect for this. Now you can use a gel pen if you wish. I just like the chalky finish of the pastel pencil. And we'll just put a little bit on these leaves here. And again, we can just flick on these leaves. Maybe a little bit down there. Again, just these little finishing touches, it makes all the difference. Another thing we want to add is some glitter. And I've got my lovely Stickles here. And as you know, Mr. Stickles can be a bit rude. He can make wind on our work. So I'm just going to put it on my craft mat and then get myself a water brush. This is a dry water brush and this one's my Stickles water brush. So I only use it for my Stickles. And I'm just going to paint it on. And what you'll find is you get this exactly where you want it. And it'll dry a lot quicker because you're just painting it on. And if you're thrifty like me, it means your Stickles last longer too. So we've got some lovely Stickles on there. Let's give that a wipe. And then also we want some lovely posca splats. Now I know not everybody likes this, so you could flick water if you wanted. That would be nice on the sky. But I'm coming in with the sparkly. So we sell a set of the sparkling poscas and this is the yellow. And we're just going to add, just to give a nice little bit of extra sparkle, especially in the sky. Right, that's enough. We don't want to overcook that. And then what we'll do, we're just going to put these to one side to dry. She says, you know what I'm like at my craft table, how many one sides have I got? And what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of stenciling on our design. And I'm going to come in with the feather leaf stencil, just because I think this one will add some continuity. And we'll use the midnight blue again to add continuity. No, we won't. I lie. Naughty girl. Della blue. That's the one we need. I think the midnight might be too dark. Again, we'll come in the lid. And I just want to put the design across here. Now, if you wanted, you could make yourself, you could cut yourself another couple of toppers. And you could actually put the design on here. Oh, look at that, beautiful. So you don't need a lot. Look at that inside. And I'm going to come this way on here. And again, remember, tickle through your stencil. Don't scrub. Again, look after your brush. And just gentle tickling like that, look, will give you enough, she says. And I'm going to tickle a little bit more. Enough of the design. And I think that's beautiful. Now we want to put it around the circumference here. So we'll put the stencil there. And again, start in the corners and just gently tickle our way around. Now again, if you're somebody who likes to tape your stencil down, by all means do. I just like to hold mine in place. And we'll add a little bit more on here and a little bit more here. Yeah, lovely. So as I say, for me, I'm just going to wipe this again. I just like the fact that we've got stenciling on these inner pieces. But again, you could, as I say, cut another piece of card and make your design. Now what we will do, we'll pop this together. So I've got my bippity boppity glue. Now bear in mind, my posca and my glitter will be a little bit wet. So I'm just going to pop that there. And then normally I would advise you to just let your glitter and your posca dry before doing this. Now I have got wiggle time. So I just want to line these up, look, get rid of that extra glue. And then the same with this side. And as I say, you could alter this design to fit. I mean, you could do so many different takes on it, couldn't you? Right, and that one. There we go. So it's a dries clear glue, that. So there we've got our two fronts, and also when it opens, look, you've got that continuity inside. So that's the one we've just made, and this is the one that I did before. And it just shows you could batch card make these, couldn't you? But I just think that's such a pretty design. Now you've got plenty of room if you wanted a sentiment. And as I say, you've got room on the back as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I will, in the description box, I'll put the measurements as well for you. But like I say, this one I just did as my sort of take on it. You can do your scoring totally different. It's up to you. And that's the fun of it. You can really make this design your own. Honestly, I hope you have a go. It's just such a lovely, lovely project to do. So thank you for spending time with me today. Well, I hope you had a brew today, because we've been 30 minutes. We've had half an hour together. Sorry I spend so long with you. I just love spending time with you. And I just hope you enjoy your Lavinia stamps as much as I do. You take care. Thanks so much for all your lovely comments. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.